All right, Taurus, beautiful cards. So, cauldron, synergy and healing, and then you have prayer. Like I was saying before with prayer, it's really about feeling like you're being sidetracked. And you may feel like you're on a path that you didn't intend to be on and that you need to get off of it in order to get back on the path that's going to bring you to what you want. But this card is saying that you need to just kind of go with this and see where it leads you. Because eventually your prayers are going to be answered. You're going to be in a place where you're going to have what you want and what you've been trying to reach. So this is a good thing, and I think that cauldron is kind of backing that up by reminding you that there are a lot of different ways that you can take. It says, refuse to choose a single rigid pathway when a variety of ways are there to be enjoyed and experienced. So I think for a lot of you, if you feel like your life has been sidetracked, just kind of go with where this is leading you. But know that eventually you're going to get to where you're wanting to be in the first place. Prayers are being answered here. All right, Taurus. Here is your overall, the Hermit. Okay. So for some of you, I don't necessarily feel isolation. I'd have to have like a lot happening around this. So when the Hermit shows up as the overall for a lot of you, it may be that you need to take a time out and step away from other people. For some of you, needing to do the deeper soul searching. Find those answers within. But for a lot of you, it's like, I need a moment to myself right now. Now for some of you, absolutely you could be in a situation here where there isn't a whole lot of contact with another person or other people in general here, and it may not be because of what you wanted to do, but it's really about doing things on your own. Oh boy, yeah, I kind of had that feeling. So in the past, the Lovers. My first question then would be, how long has it been since you've had contact with this person? So the Lovers being the past, right? If we're talking about a relationship, absolutely, we're talking about a significant relationship and decisions that were made in this relationship that are now leading you to the Hermit. Yeah, and there's some unhappiness about this. So I almost wonder if for some of you, somebody didn't back off. Because you're experiencing the Five of Cups in the present moment, so I don't feel like it's a choice that you made. But again, I don't feel like you're isolating yourself here. Like I said before, I think that for a lot of you, it's, people backing off. And then not only that, but you needing to kind of like, okay, now I need to reassess things, but definitely feeling some pain over this. Okay. And I look at that as not so much that, absolutely, for some of you, this may be, finding out that you may have been like taken advantage of, which, is possible here. The Seven of Swords is, the thief, right? Sneaky, sketchy, low down, on the down low. But it's also about unclear intentions. So it could be that you don't really know. You don't really know what's going on with another person, and they don't know what's going on with you. Nobody knows what the other's intentions are here, with the Hermit being the overall. But one of the things with the Seven of Swords, and I find it interesting because if you look at the after tarot, you see the person's about to get caught, Now, on the other hand, it could be one of those things where, right, you got to take what you can and get the fuck out of Dodge. It's time to go now. Especially if you've been really hurt because of a choice that a lover made, which can be the case for some of you. Your best path to follow, the Page of Wands, and this is what I'm talking about. So if, for some of you, I'm telling you, oh, yeah, I'm not quiet about it, and I've been persistently saying this week, that fucking Venus retrograde, I'm telling you, and I fucking hate it when it's in Scorpio. But you guys are feeling it in a much different way. Now, the Page of Wands. This is about taking a path that you've never taken before, but it's about doing it with enthusiasm and excitement. So despite the fact that for some of you, a major choice that you made in your life brought you disappointment, or a major choice that somebody else made has brought major disappointment, it's still saying that, you need to kind of follow through with this, because this path could be leading to something that you've not experienced before, something that could be better. And we're talking about good news, good communication, the things that you want to hear, right? But it may be one of those situations for a lot of you where, it's time to just take what you can, or take, whatever is left here and get the hell out, But I look at that as, I don't think that that was a choice that you made. I don't. I feel like somebody else is responsible for this choice because you're feeling the pain. Oh, in your environment, the Page of Swords, a little fucking shyster, I'm telling you. Drives me nuts. Now, let's talk about it on the good side. I don't hide the way that I feel about the Page of Swords. I've been on rants about this damn card before. But really, the good side of it is, if you're getting communication that you don't want to hear, because again, it is the messenger of conflict. The news that comes from the Page of Swords is not what you want to hear. But it's about dealing with it with intelligence and grace. But it's also talking about questions, not having questions answered, needing more information. I never see this as full disclosure. So it would make sense that for a lot of you, you're not understanding. I want answers. I want to understand, because I'm really fucking hurt at the fact that things went this way and that you're having to now be on your own, But I do believe, looking back at the Page of Wands, that it is leading to something better, right? This path may suck. You may feel like everything's being sidetracked, especially when it comes to your love life, but it is leading to something better, I believe. Even if that means that you're taking a path now on your own, Your hopes and your fears, the Queen of Swords. And what I would say here is, let's talk about the Queen of Swords, right? The reason why she is the way that she is because she's experienced pain. That is why she doesn't play games. You come to her with truth and honesty, she will listen to you. If you come to her with bullshit, she's going to strike you down. And I worry that for a lot of you, what you are fearing is that you're going to move into a place where you become cold and bitter and hateful because of this. And it's understandable. And on the other hand, this may be one of those things where you do not want to let this back into your life, which makes me wonder if for some of you, this isn't the first time that this has happened with this person, if this is about a relationship. Now, on the other hand, right, like I always say, I don't like court cards in this position, because your hopes and fears are surrounding this person, right? But it may be because of this person that you are this way now, And again, in general, like, I can't stress that enough. Don't make it fit to your situation if it's not what you're experiencing, right? But like I always say, somebody's meant to hear it, right? And then coming out the Nine of Wands. So, I look at that as, really, this is kind of where you come out from this situation. You move into a place where it's time to leave now. No matter what kind of sneaky, shystery shit was going on or whatever, right? Like, it doesn't matter, because you're already feeling the pain. It's time to go now. It's time to go. You are reflecting back on all of this, but you're also, I feel like you're learning lessons, right? Because you're looking back on everything that you've just experienced. But now this is a new path for you, where you are taking a path on your own. It's something different. It's something new. It will lead to something better. But the Nine of Wands could be saying here that, first of all, some of you may be tired of, this battle that's been going on. But it's also about persistence, and it's also about protecting yourself and your self-interest. So even though you've been put through the ringer, you're still ready. I don't necessarily feel like it's about being paranoid here, because we're still looking at the Hermit as the overall. And then the Four of Wands. So now what's important is, protecting yourself, right? And I can understand that with the Queen of Swords being there. I can't let this back in. I can't let this kind of situation happen again. I need to protect myself, and I need to start rebuilding. And I think that that's what you're doing. But like I said, I feel like it's leading you to something that is better for you, more stable. So first of all, the Hierophant. And Taurus, your card, I understand it in terms of Taurus, right? You know, again, Taurus rising. So, you know, I understand it a little bit, right? But the traditional way of doing things, right? There's a set way of doing things that is going to lead to what you want. You know, I don't necessarily feel like conformity when it comes to you, but the Hierophant, man, it encompasses so much. Your card rules over the difficult changes. The fives are always the shitty shit that we go through. Jay from Aquarian Insight, she describes them as the agents of chaos, and rightly so. Because it's that one fucking monkey wrench that gets thrown into everything and screws everything up. But the Hierophant presiding over that is saying that this is about spirituality being brought down to earth in a way that we can understand and apply it to our lives. So it's getting a spiritual understanding over the difficult changes that you've been through, right? I love your card, I do, and like I understand why people look at it as the narcissist, but I don't see it that way, you know. But with the Lovers, this is definitely about a commitment that you have made to a major relationship, and now you're being let down. And with the Seven of Cups and looking at it with the Five of Cups and Page of Swords, it makes sense, right? It's like looking at it and going, you know, I don't understand. I don't understand why this happened. It's like, you know, it is about fantasizing about how things can be. But it's almost like your vision didn't happen. And now you're realizing that the fantasy wasn't real. So it's like you're coming out of that now. But you're wanting answers. You're wanting answers so that you can understand. And so that you don't go back to this place of thinking that it's still a viable option to, you know, be with this person or stay at this job, whatever it is, right? Because Lovers can be major life choices, but you know, right? Like it would make sense for some of you that it would be about a relationship where, you know, you're not understanding why this person is backed off or why they chose to do the things that they did. That pushed you into a place of, I have to leave, you know. So I understand wanting answers, wanting clarity, but then you move into the Four of Wands, which is good. So once you get past that, you start to rebuild, right? But for a lot of you, this could literally be about, you know, deciding not to move in with somebody, deciding that it's time to move out, you know, but it's all about getting to that place of stability, right? Where you feel like you have accomplished something here and you get to celebrate your accomplishment. But that only happens when you block it out. You know, the Nine of Wands is difficult, but for you, it's like, I can't let this back in. And you know that you can't, you know, given the circumstances surrounding you. And Taurus, you know, and the thing is right, like it makes sense now looking back at your oracle cards, being completely sidetracked. And then heal heart and spirit. But yeah, the resistance, right? Especially with the Nine of Wands coming out on this. Okay. Don't resist shit. What you resist persists. So if you continue to resist all of these negative things and you don't kind of deal with them and find trust again and heal heart and spirit, then that's all you're ever going to experience. Right? And you don't want that kind of shit to persist in your life. So trust that if you stop resisting, that your heart and your spirit will be healed, right? But it's about you. It's not about, you know, you and specifically this relationship. For some of you, absolutely. But I don't know, because I look at that and I think, unblock it out. Unblock it out. I don't want this coming back through. You know, but right, the Four of Wands could go either way on that, but I don't know. I would expect to see something better than the Seven of Cups. But stop resisting, start trusting yourself, and start trusting that things are going to get better, and do what you need to heal your heart and spirit. and then reaching your destination, look at that, your light is shining brightly. So even though you're going to have to take a time out and you're going to have to take shelter here from the pain, from the disappointment, you're still going to reach where you were wanting to go in the first place. So I do believe that something better is going to come out of this situation. You know, and again, guys, general, right? But I do believe that this is a choice that was not what you wanted. It was a choice that was made that led you to being let down and being disappointed, needing to have answers as to why you may be finding out some things that you don't want to know about, looking at the Seven of Swords. But I do believe that it's time to go now. You know, you're taking time to yourself. But, you know, the light, right? That light. You know, just be careful about blocking out everything because of this one experience.